Hello and welcome to Business Sense. I'm Ralph Rivas. For today's episode, we have Lucas Liu, Head of Asia at Zoom, to talk about how AI is changing how we talk to each other and Zoom's plans for the Philippine market. Hi, Lucas. Thanks so much for your time. And you were just here in Manila, but we missed you.
Hi, Ralph. It's great to be here with you today. Yes, I was there just a couple of weeks back, but great that we can speak today.
Yeah, good thing that we have Zoom for this. Now, you wanted to talk about AI, right? So what are the trends and what's your outlook of how, you envision AI in, and how AI is basically changing or transforming how we communicate?
So at Zoom, AI is leading the way. We have our own unique approach. We call it a federated AI, which means that we don't depend only on one. We have our own large language models. We also use Anthropic. We use OpenAI for generative AI as well. So essentially, we're using the best AI for the use case that we are designing for. And with that, that means that we can have the best response. We can have the best price as well. One of the other things that we are unique is that we have decided that we will democratize AI. You've spoken about how AI is essentially taking over the world. Everyone's talking about AI now. All the top companies, are driven by the AI in terms of their market cap and so on, right? So same with Zoom. We are putting AI first, and we are building it into all of our products. I can give you some examples as we speak, where not only is this something that you say is in the future, we really look at AI as something which is now. For example, on this Zoom call, we can click one button, and at the end of this call, you will have a meeting summary. The meeting summary is not a transcript. A transcript is where it's word for word. But the AI, the intelligence of the AI, essentially is taking notes on our behalf. It will start with an executive summary that summarizes our half-an-hour conversation. It will have a paragraph for every topic that we touch upon. And at the end of it, there will be next steps as well. And the next steps are not things that we discuss at the end of our conversation. It is picking all the action-oriented items throughout our 30-minute conversation and summarizing it as next steps. So imagine the power of that in the workplace in a country like the Philippines, right? With 150 million population, half of them are in the workforce. That productivity, if you can gain 10% back in terms of time that you're not just writing notes, summarizing notes, looking back at your notes, but you're doing real work, that's really power in terms of time back that you can be doing productive stuff. So that was just one example of how AI is already changing the way that we work.
Yeah, that's quite exciting indeed. I mean, me, for example, I'm a journalist who handles lots of virtual calls, and I'm also a teacher. So this really helps a lot, right? But what about any concerns, particularly on there have been lots of concerns on AI that it's, basically it churns out text that it doesn't really understand, quote unquote. Sometimes it hallucinates, right? Me as a teacher personally, I caught several students already using AI to do their homework for them. What about Zoom? Any concerns that you share? And how are you protecting consumers from that type of use?
So I think, I would also wear my hat as a layman and a user of AI myself, right? It's like, whether it's AI or whether it's even human interaction, you have to have your judgment hat on in terms of, is this person or is the AI giving me the unvarnished truth, or, do I need to do my own verification? Does it make sense? And so on. So I think the great thing, though, about AI is that we know AI learns. It is constantly getting better as well. So we are definitely finding that at Zoom. We've done some studies that shows that our AI is more accurate And, for example, we can do translations as well. The accuracy of what we do, our AI's accuracy is ahead of some others. Other things in terms of safety and aspects, we do not use customer data to train our models. So that's something that customers are always conscious of, right? So I think, these are just some aspects of it. Definitely, we are still, I would say, in a relatively early journey in terms of AI. There's still much to learn about it, and there's still much more development ahead of us.
Yeah, especially, well, I was just thinking about it just now. Not all meetings are the same. Some are, light, for example. I mean, this conversation, for example, is, very casual, but there can be heated arguments over a Zoom call, right? And that gets summarized as well.
Yes. One of the things in terms of that as well is, Zoom lets you as the host decide on whether you record something or not. So it's not something that is beyond your control. Everything is absolutely in the control of our customers, of whoever is hosting the meeting to decide, do we want to record this? Do we not want to record this? And so on. So I think from that perspective, Zoom is a tool. It is here to enable you. It is here to make you more productive. And we've designed it in such a way with the customer in mind where, you absolutely can control that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Now, thoughts on more thoughts about applications and the future of AI. I mean, it's moving very fast. Like, it's not even years, right? It's in the next month you'll have new tech. So, what are the things that you're looking forward to, and can you tease a bit on what Zoom will be rolling out?
Absolutely, you are spot on, Ralph. In fact, just in the last couple of months, we've announced 50. We have 50 new announcements as well, right? Most of them are in the area of AI as well. So maybe I can give a couple of examples. So we think of AI as something that, let's say, this is a Zoom call, and the AI will be able to tap on whatever has happened here and help me to be more productive, perhaps after the call or for my future calls, right? It's able to tap on the information that we have discussed here. The next aspect that we have already announced and coming very shortly in the next couple of months is Ask AIC. AIC, AI Companion, is our Zoom's digital assistant. The next version is called Ask AIC, where essentially it is able to pull all the intelligence from across all of our platforms, not just from this video call, can pull from emails, from chat, from any documents, and so on. So imagine if the next time we have this call again, let's say in a couple of months, you could be ask AIC, hey, please, what did we discuss with Zoom 2 months ago? And what can you help me to summarize it so that I'm prepared for my call? Imagine how much time you would save not having to do the research, not having to remember where did I put my notes, online, right? So it's Ask AIC is able to pull across all that. It's able to pull from third-party applications that are integrated with Zoom as well. So it is not just the Zoom platform, but it is on some others as well. So that's one example. And if maybe one other thing that which even today it is doing, although it sounds maybe slightly futuristic, let me talk about Zoom Contact Center. The reason why I want to bring this up is the Philippines is the world's #1 BPO market, right? You have more than 3% of your workforce in the BPO space, right? Close to 2 million people. Imagine how many people are engaged in this activity. So anything that Zoom can do to help this industry will be of benefit to the country, obviously. So think about Zoom Contact Center. It is an omni-channel contact center. So your BPO people are all sitting in call centers, contact centers. It could be virtual. Some are in the office, some are at home. And more and more, it is getting distributed as well. I'm seeing that there are centers being set up in other cities in the Philippines, not just in Makati. So imagine if we the contact center, if you are the customer and you have a query on something, let's say your Wi-Fi router is not working, and typically you will start with a chat, right? So you do a chat. So our contact center supports the basic chat robot with FAQs and so on. But if that's insufficient, it can elevate that to a live agent. And from the live agent, it can elevate into a voice call. And from the voice call, it can elevate into a video call like this. Now, we are the only solution in the market globally that supports video. You don't need video for every situation, but the same tool, you don't need to buy a third-party tool, for example, and have to kind of integrate that into your existing tools. Now, what I have just described to you, what's the benefit of that to the agent and to the customer? Every time that gets translated, that gets elevated from one medium to another, that conversation is documented by AI. So the customer never has to repeat again to the next agent as it gets elevated, because it's summarized. That information, the AI passes it on to the next agent. The next agent looks at summary and says, okay, this is what has already been discussed. These are the details of the customer. So the customer doesn't get upset, as you often I do as well. Every time I have to repeat myself, the last person doesn't really know what happened and so on. So customer happiness, customer satisfaction, and as importantly is the agent satisfaction as well. The reason why the attrition rate tends to be a bit high is because if you face the customer's wrath, all the time, or unhappiness, after a while you get burnt out or frustrated as well. So if customer is happy, the agent is happy, you tend to stay longer, there is less attrition, there's higher employee satisfaction as well. So that's examples of how AI is already helping. And by the way, at the same time, in stuff like with this video call, we already support more than 30 languages. And there is auto detection. If you were to start speaking Tagalog with me, it will pick out that you are speaking Tagalog and capture it accordingly, right? So Tagalog is supported, English obviously is supported. So all the things that is needed for the Philippines market is already well supported.
Now, I learned two things from that, from everything that you said just now. One, Zoom is not just, a program or an app where you talk to people and have Zoom calls and all that. It's more than that. Oh, I didn't realize that. And number two, you're from the looks of it, you're quite optimistic about the BPO sector. I mean, there's been talk and fears that the BPO industry in the Philippines and the rest of the world will suffer because of AI. But here comes Zoom basically saying, you want to help the BPOs.
Absolutely. So I think productivity and optimization is something that every industry is looking at. And I look at it in a very optimistic way. For example, if you're a BPO, AI can help you be more effective, efficient by 10%, make you more productive by 10%. That is probably 10% additional capacity that you can take on, right? From number of calls and so on, without incurring higher expenses in terms of hiring more people, having more workstations, having more software and hardware to support you. So really, if you look from that perspective, that's really what the power of AI can bring, that you do more with the same is the way that I would look at it.
Now again, going back to the conversation about ethics and concerns about AI. Now another trend, actually an issue about AI, is that it tends to blur reality and fiction. With all those filters and morphing of voices, things like that. So what is Zoom doing to ensure that what we're seeing is real?
So one of the things is we are video first, and typically seeing is believing. Although yes, it's possible that you could potentially use technology to fake something, right? However, we have multiple layers of protection. For example, I could not join this call if I didn't have the invite from you, correct? So I must be the recipient of has to be my email, and then I join the call. And even when I join the call, there is a waiting room. That's also something that Zoom created, right? So that you can first validate to say, okay, has the right person joined, or has someone who is not supposed to be here, did they join? And then I can get them to exit, right? So I think there are different levels that has already been built in. I think we have been on a great learning journey the last few years. We do lead with customer experience as one of our primary design points. So we do want to make sure that from safety, from privacy, from security, all those aspects, they do not impair the experience that you are having.
Anything in particular in the Philippine market that Filipinos enjoy? Any features that Filipinos use more often than others?
So we do know that in the Philippines, it is a very digital, it's young, it's digital, everyone is on their mobile phone. And therefore, I think Zoom is really well designed for that, because one of the things that many people do not know, but when the packet loss goes down to 50%, most of the products in the market also goes down to 50%. So you will start to see, sometimes you get cut off, right? You can't hear properly, you can't view properly. With Zoom, when the packet loss goes down to 50%, we stay at 90%. So what that means, the implication for a market like Philippines, where is very far-flung, lots of archipelago with lots of islands, lots of rural areas, lots of roads, where you might get intermittent service, Zoom would be the one that still gives the best experience. So I think that's one. Of course, I've spoken about that Tagalog and English is supported. I've spoken about the aspects of how AI can support the BPO industry. I think these are all things that Philippines, as the primary number one, BPO market in the world, and growing as well, from what I see from all the statistics from CCAP, stand to benefit from that.
Yeah, so let's zoom out a bit, for the Asian market. What's driving growth, and how is the Philippine market contributing to that growth?
So while we don't split out by market, one of the things that we, some of the aspects that we are very pleased is, Zoom currently is already, AI Companion is already in more than 700,000 customers in terms of adoption in a short space of time, in less than a year. Contact center, as I spoke about earlier, grew 3 times, in the last quarter, and that's a very healthy trend that we're happy with. So I think these are some of the things that we are seeing. We're seeing a lot of traction with large customers, where we now have 6 customers globally that has more than 100,000 seats of Zoom Phone, right? So some of the largest customers are adopting our newer technologies. 90% of Fortune 500 companies are using Zoom. So I think these are all testament to the progress that we are making.
Yeah, so what's Zoom doing that competition's not doing? What's your unique features, and how will that keep you ahead of competition?
So I touched on a couple of those things earlier. So I think one is our speed of innovation, right? Speed of innovation is great because we can move very fast. However, it is always around the principle of customer experience. And I think that is one thing that we truly differentiate ourselves. I think, customers buy Zoom because of the ease of use, because of the high quality, and because of the great experience, not necessarily some of the other products in the market where perhaps it is, it's just sticky because it's bundled together with other solutions and so on. So I think that's definitely, one of the key aspects. The other one, which is very important, is we have decided that we will not charge for AI Companion. That is something that there's no major player out there that is doing the same, right? So if you think about that, that is really able to democratize. All you need is a paid subscription, and instead of paying more to get AI. So imagine AI is supposed to make you productive, but if you have to pay more, then that negates the productivity, because then you have to pay and you have to then do a ROI on the additional that you pay just to get the productivity. So that kind of negates that, right? We
Yes.
have decided as a company that we will just make it available to anyone who has a paid subscription.
Yeah, so no tier
in-
levels. That's you just pay one amount and that's it.
That's it. AI companion is included. And we keep adding to the capabilities of that AI as well.
Now, can you elaborate more on Zoom's priorities for further expansion and impact across Asia, particularly in emerging markets like the Philippines? What about Indonesia, for instance, or the rest of Southeast Asia?
Yeah. So for the region that I'm responsible for, Southeast Asia, North Asia, in every country we are adding resources, and these are, sales resources, technical resources, as well as channel resources to help grow our partner ecosystem. We are definitely leading the way with AI across all our products, but we do have also a lot of new products that we are basically bringing to the market. I've mentioned contact center, I've mentioned telephony. I do want to also call out one of the acquisitions that we made a year ago in the employee engagement space. This is WorkVivo, and it's already has some traction in the Philippines, where some of your local customers has already adopted it, and there are more conversations happening. Essentially, if you think about it, it is an all-in-one in terms of helping the company to engage with your employees. So it's something that stays within the company. It can be, the CEO's communication email. It could be an all-hands recording that is there, and people can like it. They can make a comment. They can repost it, etc., share it. You can do a call out to someone who's done a great job and recognize them, send kudos and so on as well. You could do a quick survey, a poll, just to test how things are and so on. And it's also a portal where you can keep all your key policies and information that people can go to. So in the past, you would have multiple tools to do this, or sometimes it's manual. So this is all digital and all in one, so that you don't, again, we are always looking at the experience and how to avoid what we call toggle tax, which means you are going in and out of applications.
Now, finally, of course, the world knew Zoom during the pandemic, right? And it was basically the only way for people to connect with each other. And now that the pandemic is over, we have returned to our offices, and the use of Zoom and other meeting apps, virtual meeting apps have changed. It has declined, but it's still there, right? So what's the outlook in the medium term and in the long term even? What's gonna be people's relationship towards Zoom?
So one thing which the Philippines has in common with the rest of the world is now we are dealing with a multi-generation kind of workforce, right? From baby boomers to millennials to Gen Z. So it's no longer one way of doing things fits all. And if you look at a recent survey that we did with Seek, about 40% of the workforce said that they prefer a hybrid way of working. And if you look at the CCAP, which is one of the the agency that looks into the BPO in the Philippines, their feedback is even higher. That means the call center agents, 59% of them prefer a hybrid way of working. So if you think about that, that really shows that hybrid is here to stay. It is not fully virtual. It is not fully in person. It is very likely a combination, because all it takes is some of the people decided to work from home that day, or you were caught in the traffic, famous Manila traffic, and you take the call from the car, right? From the Grab, from the bus, from the wherever. or you jump into the nearest cafe. So as long as someone is in the office, someone is somewhere else, you will be in a hybrid situation. And then you still need the best tools to support you for that.
Thanks so much for your time. Lucas Liu, Head of Asia at Zoom. Now, let's continue this conversation. Download the Rappler Communities app and join the Money Channel to discuss all things business and economics, and tag me at Ralph Rivas. This has been another episode of Business Sense. Thanks for watching.